In this movie, we're going to look under the bonnet of the MySQL privileges system. Very briefly, if you take a look at the list of databases on the MySQL system, whatever other databases you may have there, you will notice one called MySQL. This is the database in which all the information about users and their privileges is stored. As you can see, there are 5 tables, and in these tables is stored information about what each of the users has as their specific privileges and where these users are allowed to log in from in the host table, and the specific databases that they're allowed to use. If we take a look at the column description from the user table, we'll see that the particular host that they're going to come from, the username and the password are all stored within this table. Then specific privileges such as select, insert, update, delete, create, drop and so on are granted. Certain users will have shutdown privileges, others users won't. The user table, however, only will grant global privileges. If we, for instance, wanted to grant specific privileges only to a certain database, then we'd store this information in the DB table, in which, for instance, the reader user that we created in the movie before last would have information placed in here because it was on sample that the privileges were granted. So if we take a look at the information stored within the DB database, now this table, or I should say these result set, is completely broken up and it's very hard to see what data we're being given here. However, you should be able to see somewhere along the third row out of information, I'll move the mouse around that general area, there's the reader user that we put into the database. Let's try a simple list of users, might make it a bit easier to see. Now the information here stores all the different users that are allowed access to the different databases. So if we select user and DB from DB, then we'll see exactly which databases the users have access to. So the reader user only has access to the sample database. We can get information more specifically about the reader user's privileges by taking a look at the different columns within the DB table. So if we did a more complex select query such as select user DB select update from, or I should say select underscore priv update underscore priv from DB, we'd see that looking at the bottom row, which is the reader, the one we want information about, we'll see that on the sample database the reader has select privileges, but the reader does not have update privileges. If you look at the Poseidon user a bit further up, you'll notice that there are 2 entries for that user. That's because 2 different sets of privileges were stored in this table. One is for privileges on the Poseidon database, another is for privileges on the forum database.